Infor is delighted to sponsor the interview session of Rieter Automotive Canada Carpet, a 2007 IndustryWeek Best Plant winners. During this session, moderated by David Drickhamer, David is here, IndustryWeek editor at large, you will learn about Rieter best practice and continuous improvement initiative. Throughout the interview, please feel free to ask any question that you have. From Rieter, we have today Quinlan. Tim is a manufacturing manager of Rieter Automotive Canada Carpet. Tim has been with Rieter for 8 years now. He started at their Tilsonburg plant in 2000 as a supervisor and quickly progressed to continuous improvement manager, joining the Canadian Carpet plant in 2005. So please welcome David and Tim and their leaders.
Go ahead. All right. Our crowded house today.
Only people that need to be here are here.
That's right. I'll be up wandering around. I don't like sitting down while I give presentations. I don't know if you can hear me. Do we need it for recording or anything? No? That's good? All right. So, Rieter Automotive Systems, we are a global corporation. We've had a Bloomsburg facility win this award as well. We are the second Rieter plant to win this. We were a joint venture at Bloomsburg McGee Carpet, located in Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania, in '97, entered into a joint venture with a Swiss company known as Rieter Automotive, and part of that became the global supplier and complete systems and solutions. Prior to that, we only had the insulator and sound editors, whereas when we purchased the Rieter or the McGee Group, it gave us the access to the carpet where we were supplying our own carpet. In 2005, Rieter did buy out the remaining shares, and then the London facility became Rieter Automotive Canada Carpet. The facility did open in December 2001. We currently do supply U.S., Canada, Venezuela, and Belgium with full floor carpet assemblies and auxiliary mats. The London facility has 9 lines. 6 of those are automated molding lines, 3 are manual. In 2005, we expanded our facility, adding 32,000 square feet to accommodate new production lines. Basically, we started working in 2001, and it became just a slow progression as we brought on new business, filling up the facility. Our current business, we do run the Ford U387-88, which is the Ford Edge, and the Lincoln MKX. We do the Chevy Impala, the Chevy Equinox, and Pontiac Torrent, the Chrysler Grand Cherokee, and the Commander. Our future launches, which is actually launching today, is the Ford Flex. We do have the new Chevy Camaro. We were awarded the Cami replacement for the Equinox and the Pontiac Torrent. Not that it's a new vehicle, it's just the next generation. And the Chrysler Grand Cherokee and Durango, which is going to be run on a single platform for 2009-2010. Staffing trends, 2002 we had 8 employees. 2003 up to 80, 126, 165, 185 is, I don't know, most of you, if any is in the automotive business, it's a cutthroat business. This year has been a challenge. We did take a drop to 271 employees. We've dropped from there again. We are down around the 140 mark. Bringing the Ford Flex on will bring us back up to where we need to be in the 170 range. And that's just a couple of pictures of the current vehicles we do supply. We do Kanban, we do purchase material. We do use a minimum quantity, maximum quantity, standard packs. We look at truckload quantities. 2 of my largest suppliers are sister plants. The Bloomsburg facility supplies my insulators, and the Tilsonburg supplies my insulators, Bloomsburg supplies my carpet planks. I have to carry 2 to 3 days from the Bloomsburg facility because they are actually in a flood zone, and we cannot shut an OEM down. Finished goods, basically it's monitored as the customers fluctuate. We will fluctuate our inventories, we determine our safety stocks, by what we need based on our problems, if we have any issues. Our inventory levels are generally on finished goods a day to a day and a half. Monthly employee meetings, and I actually hold these. We review safety as the first. We go over our quality metrics, our customer scorecards. Production, I talk to them about the OEE, the FTT, downtime, performance efficiencies. They might not know how to calculate it, but they do understand it when I'm talking about it. And more, they're understanding on how this is calculated. To go out and think you're going to teach somebody OEE and onto the production floor, it's not going to happen. You just start talking to them about it, and they'll come along with you. Continuous improvement projects, we have many of those on the go. Suggestion program, we do implemented suggestions, get a $25 gift certificate. Anything that has a hard savings involved, there are annual rewards of 10%. Does not matter what that is. If it's $500,000 that we save, we will pay out 10% on that to the employee. We have been GM Supplier of the Year in 2006. The Bloomsburg facility has been supplier for 15 consecutive years. Basically, it's QSTP Award, Quality, Service, Technology, and Price. The London facility now has been a success story with that for the past 5 years. We supply the Oshawa plant with Pontiac Grand Prix floor assemblies, as well as the Chevy Impala. Q1 status, April 2005, our 16949 in September 04, as well as our ISO 14001. This is actually where we're going next. You can see the RPS, and everybody knows it as PPS, Toyota Production System. Well, we just put the R in front of it. Everybody likes to benchmark themselves against Toyota. It's not so much as it is Toyota as it is lean. Lean manufacturing fundamentals, reducing waste and inventory, recycling events, establish 5S implementation plans, going through the facility. Even though we have it, we're redoing it. It can never be good enough. Identify an RPS coach and train. That's me, along with my manufacturing manager hat. Expand standardized work and train. We have standardized work throughout the facility. We believe in it. It's extremely important that your employees understand why it is important and not just to have it out there. And then create simple visual indicators for quality, productivity, and plant metrics. Not a very clear picture, but that is a floor system. You don't see the underlayment under there, but that is a carpet for 211 product, which is the Chevy Impala. There's an insulator under there. We run it through an automatic process where it'll mold the carpet assembly to the insulator floor. We take it out of there and put it into a water jet and water jet trim, and then we do some final assembly at the end. That's basically the equipment we use. That's an automated process. It's called a Meyer line. That's purchased in Europe. We have 6 of those in our facility. Basically, you can get 300 to 350 parts a shift out of that with 5 people. With a manual line, you're looking at 11 people doing approximately 400 pieces. So the cost of the equipment versus the cost of the labor to run it is extreme. There's a major difference. We talk about parts per man hour. When we talk about Kaizen, continuous improvement, basically what we looked at is we have a set standard that we run by. We have, this one was just a simple staple fixture where we used to take and staple some little clips that locate the carpet in the vehicle. While the guns were always jamming, the guys were having to do this. It was a quality issue where the staples would bend underneath. Our maintenance team came up with a very simple slide-on bearing rail. You never have to set your staples again. Every time you hit them, they hit them right the first time. So you're not always having to pull them out and redo it. Saved us a lot of rework. This was put in from an employee. He worked in our shipping department. We were shipping a lot of air when we shipped our parts. It's not very good here. You can't see it, but our rack depth is 71 inches. and the part depth is 57 inches. The rack would get 14 per trailer. Basically, we'd see 8 trailers per day because of the quantity. We turned that many out of the building. We had another rack from another program that was slowing down. The employee suggested we use it. We gained 9 inches of rack, got an extra 2 racks per truck, and it actually worked out to be my build quantity for an 8-hour period. So we got to reduce our trucks. So based on the savings of that, the employee did receive a payout. That's all.
All right, very good. Again, my name is David Drickhamer. I'm editor-at-large for IndustryWeek, and we've all heard before and after case studies before that talk about companies, where they were and where they are today. And the purpose of this structure in our conversation here is to kind of talk about how they got there and how Rieter got to where it is today. So please, we're going to do a Q&A format here. We have a number of questions, but you all are free to ask your questions as well, whatever you might be curious about specifically. Do you want to lead off? Go ahead.
Absolutely. You talked about some of your challenges from 2008 meeting implementing a lean production system.
Mm-hmm.
Have you started on that process? Or, I mean, it seems like if you've got 1.5 days of inventory on hand, you're already doing something right.
Yes, we started, when I came to the facility in 2005, I was actually, prior to that, in Tillsonburg, designing the RPS system and working with our other facilities. I moved into the London plant. We looked at what do we have, started taking some of the manager staff through it, needed them to understand it so that they could teach it to the floor so that it wasn't always coming from myself. We've done many value stream events. But basically what we're talking about is a culture. It's not just doing the lean events and generating lists and knocking those issues off. It's getting the floor employee to understand this is the right way to do business and to always do business in that. Most plants, ours included, did the cycle where you go up, you got a real focus on it, and then you drop it. And then you pick it back up again, and you drop it. We did that probably on 3 occasions. Corporate directors said enough is enough. We are going to put resources to where and what we want done. We have a system developed. All plants will fully implement the system by the end of 2008. So yes, we already had started, but we still have a long way to go. We are lean. We have very little inventory. I do 60 to 70 turns a month, inventory turns. But I am only an assembly plant. So it does, it goes back to the employee. I can't stress that enough. It's having the employee and the culture to believe that this is what has to be done. And that's what will make a program a success or not. You can go out and teach all the lean principles you want, but unless you got buy-in from the employee, it's not going to happen. Does that answer your question?
So being in a union environment, how does that support that effort and initiative?
I had a couple of key things happen in London and in the Canadian automotive market. If you guys are part of the automotive market, but it's a cutthroat business. If anybody will do your job for a cent less, they'll get the business. You can't open a paper today where you don't see plants closing. This was going on. There was an article come out in the London Free Press, the newspaper, about lean and saving jobs. And before I even took it out and posted it on the boards, the employees had it posted on the boards. They had it posted in their work cells.
So it was lean, it was saving jobs.
Yes, not eliminating. And yes, we eliminated jobs. We redeployed that individual, and they're still working. They're just not doing the same job as they were. Sometimes that's hard to say that you're going to do that. There will be short-term layoffs.
you know, we all know we have to do it. But it's got to come from the employee. If it's just myself going out there and saying, thou shalt do this, there's going to be no success in it.
So the union, I mean, the employees that posted that article before you got to it.
Oh yeah, the union employees had that article posted on the boards. They even put it out on their lines in their work cells. It actually, I couldn't have asked for better timing. It was extremely beneficial to myself. The union works very well with us. I mean, we all have our differences at times. They don't like to see reduction in the workforce. Right now, they understand this as protecting the jobs we have today. And that is really where we are. We need to protect the jobs that we have today. We are all under attack, even internal North American competitors. You know, we're all out to get each other's business. There's only so much business out there. And the union understands that they need to be part of this process or there'll be no jobs for anybody. So that's a bit of a selling that you have to do. And we sat down with the union committees, we spoke with them, we let them understand, we showed them the statistics, and got buy-in from the committee. The committee did help, the bargaining committee did help sell it to the production floor employees. The other thing that helps me very well is 3 of my 4 supervisors come from the production floor. So that was a huge gain in letting them understand and showing them, because even though they're not, they may be supervisors, they still have friends on the floor that listen and understand them. So that has been beneficial as well and helped the union sell what we do.
I want to take off the culture question. Specifically in terms of quality, how did you get employees to understand the importance of quality, and how would that change your business?
That was a long road to travel. Started off of where we are today is, it's a pull the cord society. You have an issue, you stop production. You have the right to stop production. That took a lot. When I first arrived and it was a new plant starting up, they would make parts to make parts. We can just about repair any defect coming out of our process. Problem is we have so much of it. The employees there thought if they were making a part, whether it be good or bad, it was okay. We took them down the road of what is quality? What does the customer expect from us? We the use of boundary samples. We started with that. They can become a hindrance because if you don't keep them changed and up to date with your engineering changes, you could be showing them the wrong part. We did a lot of picture. We did a lot of training the employees on what is a good part and what is a bad part. Same as a good condition, bad condition in production. Showing them an understanding, getting them to understand. We have taken some of our employees to our suppliers as well as our customer and let them see and understand what our customers are doing with the product. What they thought was critical really wasn't. It'd be under a seat. So that's what you have to do. It has to be training the employee to understand what is good and having the employee understand the customer. I think you heard it in there this morning. The employee has to understand what the customer wants. They have to know what a good part or a bad part is. And they also have to have the ability to stop the production process if there is an issue. Because if they're not allowed to stop it, then they're not going to care. They've got to have the say to say, look, no, I don't agree with this. This is not right. And we will even have that today where the guys will stop the line and they'll look at our part and go, there's that defect. Of course, management will come along and say, well, no, it's okay. The best thing I ever seen done was our quality manager brought over 10 people just randomly from the facility. Is that part good or bad? Is that part good or bad? Because a lot of our stuff is visual. If you fall within the trim lines, you're fine. But the visual aspects of it are very difficult to describe, to put into verbiage, or even all the defects you could put into picture. Line up 10 people. The majority of the people will come up with the correct answer. And yes, that part was all right. And that's what we do if we have a discrepancy. If we see something that we're not sure of, we will actually identify it, flag it, send it to the customer, and have them tell us. And that has a lot to do with it as well. And that's just basically getting back to understanding your customer.
I've got a question on the reward program. You talked about 10% rebate back to the employee. What's the largest amount that you've ever paid out in that program?
To date, I believe, and it can't be quoted, but I believe it is around $10,000.
To a single employee?
To a single employee. We have two extremely large, I know David was going to ask me about this later, so I'm kind of getting to it now. We have two extremely large possible payouts happening in our plant right now. I have a group of employees presenting me with, and whether you believe it or not, they are going to reduce the amount of labor on the production line. Basically, I use a team lead in my facility per line. These guys, after going through a value stream event, have come up and said, I have time. You can put me on the end of that line, and I can do that job as well as my team lead job. That will cascade throughout the plant wherever I can. So I could probably be looking at the redeployment of 13 operators. That is going to be split between two employees. Average person per year is $50,000 when you add in all the overhead costs. So multiply that by 13 and times 10%, and that will be split between two employees. So they will see well in the area of what, $75,000.
Does that undermine the a team attitude at all with the whole improvement process, awarding so much to one or two guys?
Not necessarily. In the past, people have the problem with suggestion programs, and we do have one, and it does work. You'll be influxed with move this from A to B, C to D, and we were getting a lot of that. We said, look, we can't, this is not what we need. You know, we can go through our 5S. We need the high dollar hard savings. Do we want everybody out there running around, cutting jobs, doing that? No, we don't want just doing that. The guys, and there was several team leads that got together, worked through this process, asked me for help. You know, I gave them the stopwatches, trained them on how to do things, and understand it. At the same time, I had just finished a value stream on one of my other production lines, and I'd taken a team through it. And before I could go out, because when I make a change and I'm going to take an employee off a production line, I like to give them something, whether it be something ergonomic or just to make their life better. Before I got there to do that, they already had the employee off the line saying, yeah, we can do this. This isn't a problem. The team did it. I didn't have anything to do with it.
This was during an event.
This was at the end of an event. We ended it, and I said, okay, we'll put a timeline. We had a timeline together when we were going to do things. The employees went up and did it before I did, before I could get things in place to make that happen. They went out and did it. The two gentlemen that seen this happen said, well, we have an extreme amount of time. And we had just been given a letter from General Motors that said, we want 5% back in your yearly volume. which is a considerable amount of cash. Automotive industry, our selling prices decrease every year. We have to give money back to the OEM, and that had an impact on the plant. So that's probably what drove that more. Does it take away from the team? Not necessarily, because it's going to be up to the team and the whole team of team leads to make this work. I can't do it by saying, okay guys, all of you are on the back of the line now. All your jobs these jobs no longer exist. You're going to be redeployed. There's going to be a fairly long development phase in where we get these things into place, because basically we're asking this person now to handle 300 to 350 parts per shift every day in the same manner. They don't get to rotate. So we have implementation costs that will come out of that as well. But it will depend on all the team leads to make this work. I can't. So it's a couple individuals that came up with the idea, but it'll be those same individuals that actually have to, with my help, supervisor's help, go out and sell this to the rest of the employees. That's the one thing about getting your large reward, is you have to be part of the implementation. You can't just say, well, do this and then walk away from it. You have to implement it. You have to sell the idea.
So how does your flexible labor approach kind of support that redeployment?
All of our employees rotate throughout. We have plant-wide rotation. Any employee can do any job in the facility. We have very few posted positions. In my facility, you post to a shift. Our special cases are our shipping department and our material handling department. Other than that, you're a production employee and you can work manual line, automated line, every position on that line throughout the facility. What that will do with the team lead coming onto the line will actually reduce the rotation by one, which isn't a big concern on the other three employees on that line.
Rotating every...
I rotate on my production lines. I rotate my production lines. The employee on the production line rotates every hour within that cell, and then we move from cell to cell every week. So we'll just one down the next, down the next, down the next, from manual to automated lines. Takes a lot of training, and you have to have extremely standard work. Because if you don't have that, they can get lost very quickly, and communication is key. When we start our week, my supervisors, before we even start our machines, will have a 5 to 10 minute quick meeting. Any issues we've had on any given line, because now because you could be working on one product line last week, and this week you're working on a totally different product line. So you could be dealing with a different issue, if there is one. So communication is king.
Can you talk a little about the Best Plants Award, like the application process? Did the employees know that you were applying for this? What was their part in the application? Did they help fill any of it out? And what's been the reaction now that they know that you've won?
Yes, they did know we were applying for it.
Your rival, internal rival, kind of won. So I mean, that kind of...
Yeah, our sister facility in Bloomsburg, like I said, had won this 2006, and we actually were an offshoot of Bloomsburg at that time. So then we applied. It became part of our goals and objectives to win it. The employees were well aware of it. My facility has a lot of tours, so they understand what this could mean to us. We see a lot of the Swiss. Well, the Swiss headquarters comes over, because that's where our corporation is based, is in Switzerland. The employees, David, I think, got to meet a few of them. Did they actually fill any of the actual documentation and paperwork out? No, but they are key factors to our production indicators. They know if our production indicators aren't there and our continuous improvement indicators aren't there, we couldn't win it. so they understand the process. You know, we had to explain it to them, but it was already there. It's not like, oh, we're going to apply for Industry Week Best Plants, we have to do this now. That's not how it went. We already had a process in place. We had to keep doing the same thing we were doing, but also improve upon that. I know David sat down with the union committee member, interviewed him. Did you interview any other hourly employees on that?
Just on the floor.
Just on the floor, so.
The team leads.
Other than that, there was no, the employees didn't fill in any documentation to that respect. It was all done through interview. Managers up front submitted the thick package.
This was the initial package.
Yeah, that was the initial one.
Reference, yes. So.
And then since you won, have you seen any changes in morale, motivation, anything else?
Yes. And anytime we win an award, it is very positive. Again, like I said, in London, for the past 5 years, we have won the General Motors QSTP Award, which the employees are extremely proud of. They do have a small part in that, and I should say a large part, and that's the quality of our parts. They can't control technology and price, but they can control cost. With 2007 Business Week, everybody was whispering, did we win? Did we win? Did we win? Don't know yet. When we know, you'll know. So, yes, they do understand what it means to them. And again, I keep going back to it, in this market, any edge can help. So, we will continue down this path. I know the Bloomsburg facility are looking at re-entering it in 2009. I said, well, if I'm eligible, maybe I'll beat them to it. So, no, our employees are fully behind us. They understand it. Has our production increased because of it? I couldn't say. But morale is in the plant. When you win an award, it does bring the morale in the plant up. I feel good about it.
Let's talk about one of those metrics that you mentioned in your presentation. How are you using and introducing and continue to refine OEE in the facility? Which is maybe you should first define how you define it.
Well, OEE, even within Rieter, sometimes we will calculate it differently. But however you calculate it, doesn't matter. It's reacting to the trend. That's everything to do with it. You know, when I first, again, I have to go back to when I first there, because I can't really speak prior to myself. When I arrived, they were calculating OEE, but they weren't looking at it and rolling it up and understanding the trends. So it was actually an education factor on the management group as well as the floor group. And I'd already actually gone through this in Tillsonburg when we introduced OEE to the production floor, which was not the easiest thing to do. People look at it and go, what do I care? But when I started to explain to them where they could impact what that meant, was more of probably the winning solution or the winning edge that I got. When you talk about performance efficiencies and what does that mean to the employee, well, did we have a good day or did we have a bad day? And I don't like to use, and not to take away from OEE, because OEE is there, I like to use dollars when I talk to my employees. There's nothing more, how do you say it? Real in your face than dollars. Yes, they understand OEE. We know we have a target. We know we need to meet it. And if we're not meeting it, we need to manage why we're not meeting it. But when you start talking to that employee about dollars, not hiding your dollars, letting them know real costs, letting them know this is our selling price, letting them know that, hey, every year I have to give back General Motors, Ford, or Chrysler X amount, and my selling price doesn't go up, it goes down, and at the same time my labor costs go up, my material costs go up, and we're dealing with shareholders. Well, all of a sudden shareholders are getting less unless we do something different. So OEE is good, very good, but it's not the end-all be-all. It is not something that you will train the floor employee in right away. It will take some learning and understanding. It will take time. But again, it's reacting to the trend. It's not so much how you calculate it, it's how you react to the trend. Because everybody calculates it differently. And that's unfortunate. You cannot compare plants by using OEE. Some people look at it as a capacity. How do I have open capacity based on my availability? Other people look at it as such as I do, is I have targets for my availability, performance, and quality. Where am I falling short? And where I'm falling short, what am I doing to get that back?
Yeah, absolutely. Quality is a big component of that.
Oh, yes.
I've got a question. If you have taken lean operating principles into the office or into other business processes and have your IT infrastructure needs changed, or have you made any implementation changes in your information technology infrastructure as a result of?
Information delivery, is that what you're?
Well, have you implemented a new computer system that better supports where you're at today that you couldn't do on your own system? Or have your information needs changed? Do you need more information going to the floor? And did your old system support that? Do you need less information going to the floor? You were able to dump old systems and get rid of them?
Well, we did a lot of, our systems are very computerized. We did have manual schedules going to the floor, build X, Y, Z. All of that's now driven by a computer or the label on demand system. Every part of my facility has to have a label. We do use it in different business processes. We haven't touched the inside office in our facility, but our corporate headquarters for North America is starting to use this in the accounting side, in the planning stages, engineering. And I'm not privy to all of that. I do know that we have invested more in technology and IT systems for our production floor. IT has delivered us a very good, through common software out there, OEE calculations and delivery systems. To the production floor employee, there's no drastic change except for, instead of manual recording, it's now all done through a computer system.
So have the number of transactions that you actually require to conduct business gone down, stayed the same, or
they've decreased. And they've decreased, through from the production floor through to purchasing and shipping and everything based on the implementation of lean within the facility. As you go forward with lean, I mean that'll be one of your big hitters is where's my waste and how do I get rid of it? Again, there's just as much waste in the front office as there is out on the production floor. And you start tracking, how long, where's a purchase order go from the time somebody creates it to when the part comes in the door is astronomical in some cases. Again, we have not done that in our facility yet. That is due. We will do at least 1 to 2 events this year in our front office.
You mentioned ISO. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
You mentioned ISO 14,000. You're
Yes.
certified. Maybe a couple of questions. One, how much influence do you have over material selections for the product? Are those specified to you from the OEM, or can you back and say, hey, we've got a more environmentally friendly carpet or padding or adhesive option, are you interested? And also then, as a follow-up, what areas of your company really are scrutinized on the ISO 14000 side? What have you changed in your environmental impacts as a result of that?
Well, based on the customer, Rieter can be design responsible, or the OEM can be design responsible. Yes, we have on occasion gone back to our customers and said, look, we can, by using X amount of recycled material, because basically that's what we are. We are a huge recycler. We use just the only new product generally we'll add to our carpets is the nylon and the backing. The insulator is generally 100% reclaimed product, except for some of the resins that might be in it. We'll go back to the customer, and as long as the customer gives us the approval, and generally they're looking for a cost down, we can go ahead and we can supply them. But basically, we have to fall within a specification, because not only are we is it a carpet, but we're looking to reduce noise, vibration, and heat. That's what we do. It's acoustical products, or acoustical properties as well. So as long as they meet those specifications, then yes, we can substitute a product. ISO 14001, in regards to what we do, not many of our facilities use a controlled substance. I did have one in my facility for a while, isocyanates. We are now out of that. We do look for more friendlier products to use within our facilities, because obviously we don't want to use it. And our latest generation is getting away from our phenolic resins and going to a thermal melt pad material that will basically take resin right out of our product. And resin is not a fun thing to work with. It's very dusty. But it is with the thermally bonded new material, it is much cleaner, much easier to handle, and actually is lighter yet again. So yeah, we do look at what is our next generation of material coming through. In my time with Rieter, 8 years, I think we're on our 3rd generation now in more environmentally friendly product.
You mentioned that an environmental event that was held recently. How did that go? How was that structured? And what was the purpose?
With our business, we use 2 different types of carpet. Most of them are all nylon fiber for the carpet side. It's the backing that causes us an issue. We have EVA, or very heavy layer backing, which is known as a mass back. We also have PE back, which is polyethylene. And of course, that's all controlled by the price of petroleum these days. So we're all hurting. Now the problem, the EVA we can recycle. Basically, it's recycled down in Bloomsburg. We bale it. We send it back down to our Bloomsburg facility. They will get the carpet layers removed and recycle the backing. Our problem has been with our PE back carpet. I've actually, personally myself, worked with 5 to 10 agencies over the past year to 2 years trying to find somebody to recycle this product. Have not been a success so far. We also have other areas, other off-fall in our industry, in Europe as well as North America, where we have waste, we've got to be able to use it. So basically what happened was one of our engineers from our corporate group got a recycling event together, brought key people from each plant, North America and Europe, into our facility, as well as outside suppliers and the people that are in the industry in recycling, got everybody together and said, all right, this is our problem, what can we do about it? Now, obviously, the first and best thing is not to produce it. Right now, the way we're doing things, we can control some of that, but we can't control all of it. We can make our blanks smaller, so our trim is less. But we still need so much to run your product. So what they did was they talked to the people that are in the marketplace and said, what can we do? We did run some trials in our facility, took some of our PE carpet, and we found that we can actually reclaim a small percent. I think they can use roughly 10% of it in the insulator backing, all right, the one that the Tilsonburg facility supplies us with. And they can reuse that as part of the sound absorber and basically sell it back to us, or hopefully reduce our cost, because we're going to be giving it to them. So again, and then there's capital investment to happen to make that happen. So I don't know all the facts of everything that's come back. I think they're due up for a report out very soon of where they are. But the heavy backing we do recycle. It's the PE back carpet that does provide us with problems. The NVH plants, which is the insulator plants, noise, vehicle, and heat, they are vibration and heat. They do a majority of recycling of their own. They'll up to 50%. They can run up to 50% reclaim inside the product. So not much insulated product would go to landfill. Stuff with tar on it, in that case, it does. We've actually, because we also put a heavy barrier in our Tilsonburg facility, we put a very heavy rubber barrier in between layers of thermal bond product. We can recycle it, we just have to split it apart. To get to the heavy layer barrier, we actually pay people to stand on the end of the line and rip that pad open. It's not difficult, and reclaim that rubber barrier. The cost of oil is a huge impact on that. Yes, we are ordering equipment to do it, but so that we can start reclaiming it immediately, we will start doing it as a manual process. And that has an impact on what we send to landfill.
So it's a unique approach to that challenge. You know, you had an issue or a desire and a cost issue with the landfill cost to bring together people from all the facilities around the world, mostly North America.
Oh, and Europe. Everybody has the same issue within Rieter. It's the percentage of landfill is much less than others. When you look at it as a volume in and a volume out, how much you're doing, I mean, we roughly run around 11%, basically, the amount or weight of product we bring into our facility to what's left over after we ship to the customer. It would be scrap or possible landfill. Well, that's roughly around 11%.
How does this is, I don't know if it was conveyed in the presentation, it's a very automated facility with the Meyer lines to stretch and form and the carpet. How does that automation strategy fit with lean?
Well, basically, you will look at automation. How we look at automation is what does our customer want? That will generally tell us if we're going to go automated or are we going to go manual systems. Some of our products work extremely well on the automatic lines. That's the PE carpet, which we do a considerable amount of. Whereas the heavier mass back carpet, we will look at putting on a manual line. Everybody's looking at me going, manual line, heavy product. Well, the problem is you can only stretch so much because what happens is you're stretching open the backing on the carpet to basically as you heat it, you stretch it open, which activates the PE. The heavy layer barrier on the back of the EVA carpet or the heavy layer barrier carpet doesn't act as a glue. It's strictly an insulator. And basically what happens is you're post gluing onto that that heavy layer barrier, and again, that'll have a lot to do with what the customer wants. Are there a lot of tool changeovers? Is there not a lot of tool model styles? Lucky for us, a lot of our model changes are just a push of a button on our water jet systems, and it'll cut out a different part. But our customer, we've partnered with Ford. We've been doing very well with Ford in relationship to value stream and taking the value stream beyond the plant and out to the customer, or in their case, the supplier. And we've taken their production. Ford was able to commonize some parts for us that allowed us to move from a manual production line to a automatic line, and we gave them a cost savings for it. So when you look at our automated lines doing 350 parts, well, 300 to 350 parts with a crew of 5 to 6, versus a manual production line doing 450 with a crew of 11, there's definitely cost savings involved there. Now, you also have to weigh in what's the cost of maintaining and purchasing equipment, but it does wash in the end.
Question on leadership. It's obvious you have good leadership in your plant. How did you develop that? What kind of training or what kind of materials did you use?
Yeah, me. Actually, and because I've worked with a lot of facilities within Rieter. I'm actually I've supported my fellow RPS coaches in the Bloomsburg facility, in the Tilsonburg facility, and our Oregon facility, Oregon, Ohio. And myself in Lean, I did attend the TBM course many years ago on basically training the trainer. I attended some workshops in Dearborn with Ford, value stream mapping, as well as basic lean skills, lean workshop. Many of our managers have worked with companies in the past that were involved with lean, and dare I say, a lot of them were our competitors. So they already have some background. Basically, there's been a slow evolution and training process of bringing our managers and supervisors up to speed, along with the accounting departments and all the others, in regards to what is lean and what does that mean to me, because everybody's question is, what is in it for me? They always want to know, why should I have to do this? Well, nobody's job is 100% secure, but the leaner you are, the better you are. We invested, as I told you in the past, I have 3 employees from the floor who are now supervisors. And actually, they had gone through the McDonald's training, because they'd worked at McDonald's. And I was very impressed with their knowledge of people skills, because let's face it, you have to have people skills when you're talking lean. If you don't, you won't be a success. So the training that they received in the McDonald's facilities basically married right along with lean and the aspects of what we need to do. And of course, working with the age of workforce that they do in a McDonald's corporation, also kind of married to me, because I have a very young workforce. My workforce is around 25, so it has helped my facility. Is there a magic book that you can open and say, this is what you need to train to get everybody to be lean? No, you have to find out where you want to go and what you want to do, and then look for what best suits that, what best literature. We are actually, our corporation is using the Toyota Way, the book by Liker, kind of as a Bible, and taking off from that, making that fit our facility, because everybody can't be Toyota.
Okay, final question. If you're going into a new facility, where would you start? Or where have you started when you've kind of gone into a new facility and kind of getting to a level of excellence in manufacturing?
Good question. The facility I am in now is new. Obviously, I wasn't there at the start of it. Where I would go, and it was a little difficult for them when they did start it, is right off the start with your lean principles. I know a lot of places they have all this space, so they figure, well, I can use all this wide open space. And then as new equipment comes on, and new business comes on, they go, what am I doing? If you took that process and started lean at the beginning and hired people or trained people in that aspect of what to do when, you would have a huge jump on any of your competitors out there. It'd be easier to take on new business. You wouldn't have to be fighting for that space. Where am I going to put this product? Because as in 2005 when I walked in, there was a lot of inventory, a lot of things spread out. And my boss, the plant manager, did have lean training, but it wasn't implemented from the start. He hadn't been there at the start either, but if you ever have that chance to start in a green facility, then yeah, definitely start.
So starting with the principles and training.
And then right off the start. Don't wait till you're, I can do this later when I'm running. Do it right at the start. I know we're actually looking at developing a orientation program that will take our employees through the lean production system or the Rieter production system. They've actually named it the Rieter University, and several people have their input to that and what that will be like. That way they will be hired, and they will come to us with some of the basic understanding of lean, what lean is, and why we're doing what we're doing. Common sense manufacturing.
On that note, very good. Thank you very much, Jim, for taking the time to talk to us today.